Hey, what's up, musers? This is John at Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And this is going to be a complete tutorial on how to build a Bootstrap template in Adobe Muse. Now, for those who are not familiar with what Bootstrap is, it's basically a very popular way to build websites with code. Now, I will be covering a few more advanced topics, so if you are a beginner to Adobe Muse, I would recommend watching some of the earlier videos on my YouTube channel. So I'll go ahead and get started. I do have the contents here. So step one, we're going to find a Bootstrap template to recreate. Step two, we're going to take a picture of the website across different breakpoints with the Fireshot web page screenshot Chrome extension. Step three, we're going to create breakpoints in Adobe Muse. Step four, we're going to decide if the website is going to be fixed width, fluid width, or adaptive. Step five, we're going to create the guides as a reference. So when we're going to use the image and then create guides over the image to use as a reference. Step six, we're going to add elements and assets, and we're going to sample fonts with the What Font Chrome extension. Step seven, we're going to add animations and effects. And step eight, we're going to repeat the process for the other breakpoints. So I'll go ahead and we're going to start with step one, and that's find a template. There are many free Bootstrap templates on the web. With a simple Google search, you can find various templates, and a great website for free Bootstrap templates is graphicburger.com. So I'll go into Google Chrome and go into Google Chrome here, and I'll go to graphicburger.com. And then the name of the template is called Guide, so I've already kind of worked with it a bit. So I'll just type in guide there, and here we have guide, a free HTML template. So I'll click here, and then I'll scroll down. Here we can see the template, and then here is a live demo. So here you can download it, and here is a live demo. So I'll click here on live demo, and then we can just take a look at the website and see what we'll be working with. So we can see here there's some animations and effects. It's a really nice and clean template. Looks good. So we'll be recreating this in this tutorial. All right, so the next step is to take a screenshot of the website. So let's go into the slideshow here. So we found the template. The next step is to take a screenshot with the Fireshot Chrome extension. So here is the website, and before I take the screenshot, I want to just take a look at the different breakpoints. So the website does change across a few different breakpoints here. So I'll scroll down. If I resize, we can see that these squares here, there's one square there, and then it goes to another breakpoint, then there's two, and then there's three. And a good website to see the different breakpoints of a website is design.google.com/resizer. So here we are, we can see the different devices here, and I'll go into the URL of this website. I'll hit Command C to copy, and then here in the Google Resizer, I'll hit Command V to paste. Then I'll hit enter, and here we can see the website across different devices. Here, if I click on the laptop icon, I can see the different breakpoints. So we have 1280, 960, 600, and 480. So here I'm going to take a look at this. So we have 1280, there we go, 840, 600, and 480. So it looks like 840 and 960 are fairly similar. So for this, I'm going to use a breakpoint at around 1200. I'm going to use a 960 breakpoint. I'm going to use a 600 breakpoint and a 480 breakpoint. So I'm going to have 4 breakpoints for this website. And I've decided that I'm going to use a fixed width website. I like using fixed width because elements don't move around so much, and once it reaches another breakpoint, I can just change the layout and not have to worry about things changing size and things like that, and that'll become more clear as I'm going through this video tutorial. So there, I've decided the breakpoints 1200, here's 1280, but I'll do 1200, 960, 600, and 480. So now that I know that I'm going to use those breakpoints, the next thing is to take a screenshot of the website on those different breakpoints. So here I'm in the website, and here we have the Fireshot Chrome extension. It's right here, and I do have a quick tip on how to install the Chrome extension. It's quick tip number 10, and you just type in Fireshot install it into Google Chrome, the Chrome extension, and then you have this little icon here, this S icon, that allows you to take a screenshot of the website. So I'm going to right click on inspect, and then I'm going to resize the browser, and right up here we can see that it shows us the size or the width of the browser. So the first breakpoint I want to use is 1200. So there it is. I'm at the 1200 breakpoint, and then I'll close the web inspector here, and then I'll click on the S to take a screenshot. I'll say capture entire page, just like that. And I did go through the entire website first so that all the elements were visible. There are some animations on this website, but going through the website makes all the animations come in, and then everything is visible on the website. So we can see there's the image, looks good. So here we can save as image, we can save to PDF, we can copy to clipboard, or we can print. So here I'm going to click on save as image. Looks good. And then it creates kind of a long file name. So I'm just going to say here breakpoint 1200, and then hit enter. So now I have the 1200 breakpoint. I'll go back into the website. I'll right click, inspect, resize to 960, right there, looks good. Close the inspector. Then I'll take another screenshot, capture entire page, goes through and takes a screenshot. And then go down here, save as image. I'll click save as image. And then here I'll click here and then say 960, hit enter. There I have the 960 breakpoint. I'll go back to the website and right click, inspect, resize to 600. Just like that. So we're at the 600 breakpoint. I'll click on the S, capture entire page. Okay, then I'll scroll down, save as image here. I'll click here and I'll say 600. Looks good. And then one more time, go back to the website, right click, inspect, and I'll resize it to 480. You could go lower for, an iPhone 5S is 320 pixels in width, but if we're doing fixed width, it should work out pretty well. So there I'm at the 480 breakpoint. I'll click on the S, capture entire page. Scroll down, save as image. I'll click save as image. Click here and I'll say 480. So now I have the 4 images for the 4 different breakpoints. Okay, so that was step 2. So let me go back to the slideshow. And step 3 is create the breakpoints in Adobe Muse. Okay, so I'll go into Adobe Muse. I've already opened a blank site. You can just go to File, New Site to open a site, or if you're on the splash screen or the home page, there's a button that says New Site. So here I'll double click on the home page, and here I want to create the breakpoints in Adobe Muse. So I'm going to right click on the breakpoint bar right up here. I'll say right click, add breakpoint, and I'll say 1200. And then for the breakpoints, I want them to be fixed width. I don't want them to be fluid width. So I'm going to right click and uncheck fluid width. Same for the 960 breakpoint, right click, uncheck fluid width. And I could even use scroll effects if I wanted to, because they're fixed width, but I probably won't be using those in this tutorial. So I'll right click, add breakpoint, and I'll say 600, just like that. Right click, add breakpoint, and I'll say 480. All right, so there I have my different breakpoints. Looks great. And I have a few guides here that I can use for reference, but we'll go over that as I'm going through the design process. Okay, so I've gone over creating the breakpoints, and 480 we also want it to be, we could set it to responsive, but for now we'll say fluid width for 480 as well, and I'll go over that a bit later. But we have fixed width for all of the breakpoints. So now I'll go, let's go back into the slideshow. We've created the breakpoints. So now we're going to decide what type of website, if it's going to be fixed width, fluid width, or adaptive. I did decide that it was going to be fixed width because I just want the layout to change across different breakpoints. I don't want things to move around too much. in the website. Fluid width, things would move around a bit more, and adaptive design would be a specified website for desktop, tablet, and mobile. It would be a different layout for each website, and it would basically be 3 websites for 3 different devices. For this website, we're just creating a fixed width website with 4 different breakpoints. Okay, so now we're going to place the image into the website and we're going to create the guides. So let's go back into Adobe Muse. So here in my Finder, here are the images that I saved. We have the 1200 breakpoint, we have the 960 breakpoint, we have the 600 breakpoint, and the 480. So for the 1200, I'm going to click, hold, and drag and place right in here into Adobe Muse. And I'm going to resize it to the entire width of the page here. Just going to drag it, and there it is. And I'll just bring it down, make sure it's at the top of the website here. All right, so here I have the website, and this is what I'm going to use as a reference to build the template here. So now that I've added the image, I can go ahead and add guides. So up here we have a ruler, and to the left, if you don't see the rulers, you can go to View, Show Rulers. Here it says Hide Rulers because the rulers up here are already visible. And then we have hide guides. You want the guides to be visible as well. So if it says if you don't see the guides, you can show them. It'll say show guides if they're not visible. But here we can see that because it says hide, we know that it's we do have access to them. So the ruler is right up here, and the guides are these lines here. So to create a guide, let me undo that. To create a guide, you just click on the ruler and then drag down to create a horizontal guide. To create a vertical guide, you click on the left here, on the ruler on the left, and then bring in from the left, just like that. Okay, so there we have the image, and now I'll create the guide. So I'll click from the top, I'll create a guide here, just like that, and I'll create some guides over these rectangles here. So this process could take a moment, but depending on how many guides you want, depending on how much time it'll take. I like to put guides over the main sections of the website. So where the color changes on the website, I like to put a guide. So here's one section, and then I'll scroll down. Here's another section, just like that. And another section right here. And a section here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, section here. Looks good. Let me move this up a little bit there. Perfect. And it's good to zoom in because I can get it more exact in there. And that looks good. Okay. We have the sections there. So now that I've created a few guides, and actually let me create some more guides here over these images. Let me zoom in here. So in this tutorial, I'm not going to recreate everything on the website, but I'm going to go over a few sections that'll cover some of the main points for the tutorial. Okay, so there I've placed the guides, and that looks good. Perfect. So if you did want to, place more guides, or just really get everything in place before you start designing, that's actually, that'd be a good idea, so that you could easily create the rectangles or the elements and have them snap to the guides. So they're very useful because everything snaps to the guides. Okay, so there I've created the guides, and let's go back to the slideshow. The next step is step 6, which is add elements and assets. So let's go back into Adobe Muse. The first elements, or the first things I'm going to add, are the sections, and this is where we're going to work with the layers panel quite a bit. So here in the layers panel in Adobe Muse, I have it here. I can go to window and click on layers if I don't see the layers panel. And here I want to create a new layer. So I'm going to click on the new layer icon here. And then I'm going to bring that layer below layer 1. And I'm going to bring the image, if I can grab it here. There it is. Bring it on layer 2. And I'm not going to explain this too much now, but it'll make a bit more sense as I'm going through, because basically what I want to be able to do is hide the image as I'm building the website. Okay, so now I'm going to create this first section here with the image of the lady. So I'll click on the rectangle tool and I'll create a rectangle, 100% width. I'll go to fill, add image, and let me find that. So let me go into the finder here. So when you download the template from Graphic Burger, right here you click on download, it'll download a zip file. So you want to double click to extract the zip file, and then here's the guide free HTML template. You can double click on guide, and then there's a folder called images. So you click there, and here are all the assets from the template. So here's the image of the lady. So what I want to do is click on the rectangle, and not the guide there. So I'll click on the rectangle here. I'll go to fill, add image, and I'll select the image here. Then I'll say scale to fill, position it in the top center there. So what's great is I can now go into the layers panel and I can uncheck either the rectangle I just created, and we can see it's exactly the same image, same width and everything, which looks great. Here's the image of the template we took, and here's the new image of the lady that we just added. All right, and as we can see in the image, there's like a darker overlay over the image. So what I'm gonna do is make this rectangle visible. I'm going to hit Command C to copy, then Command V to paste. I'm going to go to fill, delete the image, and I'm going to say black for the fill. I'm going to set the opacity to around 40 right there. Looks good. And just move the guide, and I'll select this and place it right up there. Okay, so there we have kind of a darker overlay over the image. Perfect. So now I'll just go ahead and create these other sections in here. So I'll select the rectangle tool. Let me make sure I'm on layer 1, rectangle tool, and here's another section. And we can see that these sections are a little bit different in color. So to get this color here from this section, I'll go to the fill, select the sample color tool, and sample that color from the image. So there we have that section. I'll scroll down. Let me zoom out a little bit and select the rectangle tool, draw another section, and then the section is white, so I'll just say white. We have that section, and then we have another section right here, and I'll select the sample color tool, sample that color, looks good, and then I'll select the rectangle tool, create another section. This section is white. Then I'll zoom in a little bit more here, create another rectangle, and select the sample color tool, and this is what that color there, and then one more rectangle here at the bottom. All right, looks good, and I'll make this white. Okay, and what I want to do with these sections, because I do want the sections to fill the entire browser width and then have the content right in the middle of the website. So I'll select all of these elements that I've just created, and I'll select them all in the resize option right up here. I'll select the drop down and say stretch to browser width. So let me make layer 2 not visible. So now we just see the elements that we've created and the image is hidden. So I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. There it is. If I scroll down, we have those different sections. It might not be that visible because a few of the colors are pretty light, but if I resize the browser, we can see that image resizes as well. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to add some other elements, and I'm actually going to add some text. So if we go into the website, we can see the text here, And yeah, let me bring the image back. We'll use the image here as a reference. So here's where I'll really work with the layers panel. Because we have this image here, the image in the background is not visible. So I'll just select these rectangles and I'll uncheck them like that so I can see the image. So here we have this text, create awesome things for better web. Now there's another Chrome extension that I'll leave a link to in the description area below called What Font. And this allows you to sample or see what type of font is being used for the text on the website. So here I have the font, the What Font icon, and if I click on it and I hover over any text, it'll tell me the text, the font size, it'll tell me the font family, the font size, and the color. So here it's Roboto, and it's Roboto 100, so it's Roboto thin. So here I'll go back into Adobe Muse, and I'll create a text box, just like this. And once I've created the text box, I now have access to the web font dropdown. And to install the Roboto font, I can click on Add Web Fonts, and I can type in Roboto. Roboto is an Edge web font, and Edge web fonts are pretty much Google fonts. And I've already installed it, so here I can click OK. And now I'll go into the dropdown, I'll type in Roboto, and here we have the Roboto Edge web font. You want to make sure that this WF is next to it because it'll give you access to the different variations of Roboto. So Roboto 100 is Roboto thin. So I'll click here and then I'll type in create awesome things for better web. Okay, and the size was 70, so I'll type in 70 here for the size, and the color was white. All right, so there I have the text, and as we can see, it fits perfectly over the text in the image. Looks good. Okay, so there we've added that text, and I'll add these rectangles here. Go to the sample color tool, sample that green, and here I'll select this one and sample the gray. Okay, and then we have a menu right up here, so I'll zoom in just like that, and let's go back into the website and I'll click on the text here. So it's Roboto regular, the font size is 18 pixels, and the font color is white. Okay, so here I'll go to Object, Insert Widget, Menu, and I'll say Horizontal, and I'll place it right in there. For menu type, I'll say Manual, because we want to add more menu items, and I'll add 3. Double click, I'll say About, and I'll say Tour, and I'll say Pricing. Okay, and then I'll go into the first one here, go into the web font dropdown, I'll type in Roboto, go into Roboto, and I'll say it's Roboto regular. Looks good. And then I'll select the menu item here, I'll go into the normal state. For the fill, I'll say transparent, then I'll click the drop down on the rollover, I want it to be transparent. On mouse down, I want it to be transparent. On active, I want it to be transparent as well. So I don't want any color change on the rollover, mouse down, or active state. Okay, and then the font size was 18. So I'll just change the size there, and I'll bring it over here, and then I'll just try to line up this text over the image. Just like that. So I might have to move things around a bit, kind of make these boxes a little bit smaller, and we're getting there. Yeah, looks good. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it looks good right there. Pricing is now, we want to make pricing, yeah, that looks good there. All right, so there I have the menu, looks good. And we'll add this guide text right up here. So I'll go back into the website, and for this it's Roboto 500, font size 30, and the color is white. So go here, and we can see that what font is really useful. It tells you exactly what type of text, color, and size. So what was it again? It was 30. So here I'll go into the text, create some text. I'll type in guide period, and for the dot there, I'll go into the sample color and sample that green right in there. And then guide is white. The size is 30. And I'll go into Roboto. And Roboto 500 would be Roboto bold. And that's it. And let me center it in here. And this dot should also be 30. Okay. There it goes, fits nicely over the image. Okay, and then there's this explore more about us right here. So I'll click here, and this is Roboto 300, 16 pixels. So let's zoom in on that section right in here, create a text box, and it says explore more about us. Okay, so it was Roboto, it would be Roboto light, and it was 16 pixels. I'll center it and make it white. Okay, so there we have it, and it fits perfectly over the image. Looks good. And yeah, so explore more about us, and let me zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, and then we have this circle here, so let me select this rectangle here, and I'll uncheck the rectangle so I can see the circle. So I'll go into Adobe Muse, I'll select the ellipse tool, and I'll create an ellipse. It looks like it's 50 by 50, and I'll just place that right in there. For the fill, select the sample color. I'll sample that green right in there. Okay, oh, didn't sample it. There we go. Okay, and for some reason the cursor ends up being kind of a pointer, but you know, for the most part it's usually an arrow, but must be something with what I'm working with here in Adobe Muse. But there we have it. We've created this top part. We've added a few sections from the top part using the What Font Chrome extension. Yeah, using the What Font Chrome extension, it tells you exactly what the fonts are here. And now I'll recreate this section here, but we can see how this first section looks. So I'll make all the sections here at the top visible, and I'll uncheck the image in the background. So I'll preview in the browser, and there we have it. Looks good. I can resize, and we can see the lady resizes. None of the other elements really resize. They change position a little bit, but that's just because we need to, you know, design it on these other breakpoints here. All right, looks good. So I'll create the next section. So let's look at the image. So I'll click on this rectangle and uncheck that rectangle so we can see the elements here. So here I'll create our products. So I'll go into the website here, and our products is 50 pixels, and I want to copy this color code here so I can, yeah, let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so I can recreate this text here. So here I'll create a text box. I'll say our products, and the text was 50. The color, I've copied it, so I can just hit Command V to paste in there. And it was Roboto 300, so Roboto light. Click the drop down, Roboto light, and I'll center it. And there we go. I'll place it right over the text or the image. Looks good. You can hardly see that there's a text box because it fits perfectly over the image. Okay, then we have another text box here. So I'll type in the text, far, far away, behind the word mountains, far from the countries, enter vocalia and consonantia, there lived blind texts. Okay, so I'll go into the website and let me sample that. So it's Roboto 300, 18 pixels in size, and I'll copy this color code here. So let me change the color, and the text was 18, was it? Yep, 18. And it was Roboto light. And I'll center it, and I'll place it right over here. Okay, it looks good. So we noticed that the line height is a bit larger here on the website. So to change the line height for text, you want to use the leading option, which is right up here. It's these arrows that are pointing up and down. And in Adobe Muse, it's in percentage. We can see that the what font shows us that the line height is 32 pixels. Adobe Muse is more in percentages, so you can just play with it until you get the right line height. So here's 160. I've already kind of worked with it a little bit, so I know it's 160. And I must have missed some of the text because it's not lining up perfectly. There, live. Okay. All right. Vocalia and Constantina. Let me see if I have the right 300. No, that's right. There, live the blind text. Okay. All right, there we go. Fits nicely right there. Perfect. And I could even go to align to content area and make sure it's in the center, that these elements are in the center. Perfect. Okay, now I'll create these elements here. So for these elements, I'll create one and then just copy and paste for the other elements. So I'll create a rectangle tool, create a rectangle over here, over this image. Looks good. Then I'll create a rectangle down here, and I'll recreate the text here. So here, let me go back into the website. And for that, it's Roboto bold. The size is 18 pixels, and I'll right click and copy this hex color here. Okay, I'll go to the text option, say beautiful sunrise. Okay, and the size was 18. Say 18. I have the hex code copied, so I'll hit Command V to paste. And then it's Roboto bold. And I'll center it. Okay, so I'll go into here and I'll just line it up. Looks good. And I'll select the text tool and write this section here, far, far away, behind the word mountains, far from the countries, Vocalia. Okay, let me go into the website, and that font is 16 pixels, Roboto light, and I'll copy this hex code here. So I'll change the color, say 16 for the size, and then I'll say Roboto light. Yep, looks good. I'll center it, and perfect. And then for the leading, I'll say 160. Looks good. Almost fits perfectly. Yeah, looks like it fits perfect. Maybe a little bit more line height, but that's good. Yeah, that looks good there. Yeah. Okay. So one other thing we notice with these images is that they have a corner radius on the images. So I'll click on this image here. Or actually, I haven't filled this rectangle with an image yet. So I can go to Fill, Add Image, and select this image here from the assets, say Scale to Fill, position it in the center. And then I want to give the top of this image a corner radius. So from the corner radius option right up here, we can click those angles, and it'll have a corner radius of 10. So it'll be a little bit more smoother. It'll have rounded edges on the left and right hand corner. And then the same with this rectangle here, I want to fill it with white. And then we don't see the image in the background anymore. And then I want a corner radius on the bottom left and on the bottom right so that they're rounded here on these edges. Okay, looks good. And then the next thing I want to do is add a shadow to this top element and this bottom element. So I'll select them and I'll go to Effects, select Shadow, and for the shadow opacity, I'll make it about 20, so it's a little bit smoother. All right, and we've just created those sections. So now what I'll do is I'll select all of these. I'll hit Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and just paste them in those those 5 other areas. And then I'll swap out the image. Just like that. Paste again. Okay, paste one more time, and right in there. Okay, looks good. And now I'll just swap out the image. So this one was the dog. So I'll go to fill, image, and I'll select the dog here. This one was that, fill, select that. This one was that one, go to fill, select that one, the waves, and select the waves there, looks good. And then this one was the forest. All right, looks good. So let's see how this looks like in the browser. Let me go into the layers panel, and we'll bring that rectangle back in so the image is not visible behind it. And I'll make the layer 2 not visible so we don't see the image. I'll scroll down, and there we go. It's looking just like the template, which is great. This is the template here. Let me refresh so we don't see those areas, but there's the template, and here's our Adobe Muse website. Pretty cool. And I can resize, and obviously, I mean, yeah, here we need to, on the different breakpoints, we need to change the layout. So it looks good. So for the larger breakpoints, even if you resize the browser, the content will stay in the middle. And because these background sections are 100% width, they will go across the entire browser, and the content will be centered in the middle. So you won't have any white space on the sides when building the website. All right, it's looking good. Okay, we have the text here, and I will bring in the font smoother because I like really smooth fonts. So here's the font smoother, and this can be found at museforyoushop.com. I'll place it right in there. I'm speaking with like a low voice now, but I think I'm talking a lot. Here we have the text, and the text is a bit smoother. Everything looks a bit smoother on the website. Looks really nice. Awesome. So the last section that I'm going to go over, because I'm not going to spend a couple hours designing the site here, but I do want to go over this section. I think it's this one here. Go into the layers panel, and yeah, let me bring the image back in. No, it's not that section. It is this section here. Yeah, this section here. So for this, what I want to do is bring in the image of the MacBook. So I'll place it in here, and I'll line it up with this image here. And when you start building the website, you'll start to be able to use other elements that you've already created. So for our products, I'm going to copy that and paste, and then, oops, not the zoom in tool. And I'll place that right over here, and I'll just say superb. That's a little confusing because you can't really see it, but here we go, superb. Let me just undo that. So we have our products, which I copied, and then let's make this a little bit larger there, and I'll say superb features. Okay, and then I'll just place it right over here, and there it goes. So because I know if I go to the website and I use what font again, oops, let's go to the website here. If I use what font, this font is the same. It's 50 pixels in size, same color as these other headings, as this heading here, our products. So I just copied and pasted and placed here in Adobe Muse. What you could do as well is you could create a paragraph style out of this styling. So if I clicked on this text here and went to paragraph styles, I could create a new style by clicking on this icon down here. And here I can double click and say, for the style name, I could say heading and give it, let's say, an H2 tag. I'd either give it an H2 tag or an H3 tag, depending on how important I felt those headings were. The higher that, or H1 is a really important heading. H2 is kind of like a subhead. Yeah, H1 is a headline, so H2 is a subhead, and so on. So if for this one it would be H2, and for these headings here it would be like H3 for beautiful typography, eco-friendly, and so on. All right, so I kind of went off on a tangent because I was talking about this image here, but here I've placed the image, and now what I want to do is preview in the browser. So let me uncheck the image in the background, and looks good. And we'll bring back this section here. Preview in the browser. scroll down, and there's the image. Looks good. So with this image, you'll notice because the image goes off the canvas, we have this scroll bar down here. I don't really want that because I don't want the user to, scroll to the right and see all this empty white space here. So there's a nifty little widget that I've created called the horizontal scroll disabler. So I'm just going to type in horizontal. Then I'm just going to click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. So there I have it. And if I preview in the browser again, that scroll bar is no longer there, and there's the image. If I resize, looks great. And it's just like the Bootstrap template in here. As we can see, it does the exact same thing. Awesome. So Adobe Muse is a really powerful software for creating websites, and I'm just really happy to be showing this method of creating it, because if you're not, if you don't know much about design, or you've never really designed a website, this is a really useful way to build a website. And you can do this with any website you find on the internet. And now with third-party widgets, you don't need any code to add some really cool effects. And I'm going to design a little bit more, and then I'll go into the animations for this website here. So let me go into my layers panel. I'll bring in the layer 2 again, and then I'll go into here. Let me select the selection tool, and I'll hide that rectangle. For these check marks, I'm going to use the Font Awesome icon set, and I did create a quick tip on how to install the Font Awesome icon set. I think it's quick tip number 6. Yeah, quick tip number 6. We'll show you how to install the Font Awesome icon set. So basically, I want to create these check marks here. So I'll select the text box, create a text box, then I'll go into the font option here, and I'll say Font Awesome. And I'll select the Font Awesome web font, and here we have the text option. So here I want to go to glyphs. If you don't see the glyphs panel, you can go to window and click on glyphs right in here. And so I'll click on glyphs, and here I have the Font Awesome icon set. I can choose from over 600 Font Awesome icons, and they're absolutely free. Again, check quick tip number 6 to see how to install it into Adobe Muse. So here I'll click on the check mark, and I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll make the check mark here about 60. That looks good. Maybe 48. 60 is a bit big. There we go, 48. I'll center it, and it's a bit thicker than these check marks, but I'm okay with that. Then I'll go into the drop down, the color drop down, select the sample color, and I'll sample that green right in there. I could even add that green to the swatches by clicking here on the add swatch option and clicking OK. And then when I open the swatches panel, I have access to that green color right there. Looks good. So I'll just copy this a few times, paste, just like that. And it's not exactly over the check mark here, but looks good there. Okay, so there we've added the check marks and looks good. So I'll just go into the layers panel, and I will uncheck or bring back that section there. All right, so let me look at a few other sections just to see if I'll go through them and design them. Here it's just bringing in the heading. Let me zoom a little bit. Here's bringing in the heading, writing some more text. You could create a carousel or a composition widget for this so that you could have a few testimonials. I'm not going to go over that now because that would take a really long time. But there's a composition, and I do have a tutorial on creating a composition widget. That's basically object, insert widget, and then composition. You can add a blank composition, and then the triggers would be these images, and then the target would be text. There would be text within the target, and then you can make it like a slideshow. So when the user clicked on these elements, it would go to that testimonial. Yeah, I'm not going to go over that because that would take a while, but I might just even do a little small video tutorial on this. But I'll keep it moving. So let me bring back that section. Here we can uncheck this. Here you could just create a few ellipses. I'll do that real quick. So we go into the ellipse tool, and it looks like it's 110 by 110. Maybe a bit bigger. Oh no, 110 by 110. Then I can fill it, sample that color, and just paste that in there, just like that. And these guides are just awesome. I mean, they're snapping so well. like that. I'll bring in this image in here. Yeah, you want to paste it outside so it doesn't fill the entire section, just like that. Looks good. And that section we went over. Good, good, good. What's in this section? I think that was the composition. Here is the contact form, so I do want to go over that. So here it says subscribe to our newsletter. So here I'll just create a contact form in Adobe Muse. So I'll go to Object, Insert Widget, Form, Simple Contact. I'll paste it right in there. And for this, I just want the email, and that's it, just the email. And I don't want this message here, so I'll just click in here and delete it. So no label. I'm trying to get that message out of there. Email, and let me see if I can delete it now. It does not let me delete that. Let's try again. Home address. Okay, so it doesn't look like I can delete the message part there, but as you can see, I can restyle the submit button and the email. I can take off the label and just do something like this and create something similar to what's here. So I can go in the drop down, fill it with the green, say send, and make it white, and do something like that. Roboto light, we'll say 24, or yeah, 24. So I'm just kind of, eyeballing it a little bit, but just to save a little bit of time. And then we can change the leading here to bring down the send button. All right, so we have send. There's the email. I can go in here and format the email text. And I'm just kind of winging it a little bit to save some time. All right, so there we have that. Subscribe to our newsletter. I can create some text. And you could also do this with MailChimp if you had MailChimp. Subscribe to our newsletter. I'm going to the website and use this here. So that's Roboto 326, and I'll copy this text. So if you've watched the video this long, congrats, because I've been going for a while. But here, let me do that and zoom in. I'm going a little bit fast now because I do want to save some time here. All right, so I can't delete this form in there. There should be a way, but oh, there it is. You just have to click a few times, and it will delete. I'm glad that's an option there. Here, we'll send the form received text in there, and this text right in there. Right in there. So with Adobe Muse, it has a bit of text that tells you when the form's been received or it hasn't, and things like that. So you can just kind of play with that. All right, I think that looks good. I mean, it's not perfect, but there we have the email, and I'll bring back the background section in there. Okay, looks good. So I think that's it for designing the site. All the other sections are just adding icons and adding text, which I went over here at the top as well. So let me preview in the browser, and I'll scroll down. We have that section, that image, the dots. We have the text here, looks nice, and we have this section here. This needs a little bit more formatting, but does not look too bad. I would just make this size here a bit smaller to match the send button. But there it is. And the next thing I'll move on to, because I've just added the assets, which took most of the video tutorial, but here, let me just resize this a little bit. Here I can get the exact size, which is the height is 50. So in here, the height is 50, okay. So I would format that a little bit more and make sure that it matches the send button here. Okay, so the next section, let me go to the slideshow. I've added the element and assets. I've kind of showed how to do that. The next section is add effects. So if we go to the Bootstrap template here, and I refresh and I scroll down, we can see that elements are fading in from the bottom to the top there. So what I'm going to do for these elements, so I can just show it fairly quickly. But excuse me, my voice is cracking a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to add the animation, and to add animation to quite a few elements. So for these elements here, I want it to fade up when it's coming in. So because it's a lot of different elements, what I want to do is create a rectangle around all of these elements here, just like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is bring in the simple and sweet on scroll animations because that's the widget that I'll be using. So I'll go to my library panel, and if you don't see the library panel, you can go to window and click library. Then I'll type in SSOSA for simple and sweet on scroll animations widget, which can be found at museforyoushop.com. And then here I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. And then here I'll bring in the simple and sweet on scroll animations. So you want to place the ad first at the top here first, and then the widget. So here I'll click on that rectangle that we created. I'll go to graphic styles. I'll create a new graphic style by clicking on this icon down here that looks like a piece of paper. Then I'll double click and I'll call this on scroll 1. Because in the widget here, we can see it says on scroll 1. That's the name of the graphic style name in the widget, so you want to apply it to these elements as well. All right, so now we have the animation is fade up, and it's going to start from when the top of the element reaches the bottom of the browser. And we'll have it repeat when it plays, so we won't check play once. And there is a video tutorial on the simple and sweet on scroll animations as well. Okay, and this rectangle does need to be behind all of these elements. So before it was at the top because we created it and it got placed on the top of all of these elements, but we do want to place it, you could place it right above all the section rectangles. So here we can see we have all these rectangles that represent the sections. If you put it just above the last rectangle here, you'll ensure that it stays behind all of the elements in here. Okay, so there we have it. And then in the simple and sweet, I want to change the duration to 1000, and the easing, we'll say ease out quad, I think is a nice one, or no, ease out quart here, just to add a little bit of easing, and we'll have it, fade up. Looks good. So I'll go to file, preview page in browser, and I'll scroll down and we can see it fades in nicely. Looks good. Perfect. So I'll just copy and paste this rectangle behind the other elements, just like that. And this is just, kind of customizing the widget and how you want your animations to play. All right, so we just had those rectangles there, and I'll bring all these rectangles right there. Looks good. And you can use the animator widget for this as well. Scroll down. Awesome. You can see it fades in nicely. And I changed the duration here to 1 second. If I wanted to give these another graphic style name, so it has kind of a staggered delay, I could go to the graphic styles, create a new graphic styles panel, double click, call this on scroll 2, and then click on scroll 3. And then this one I'll say on scroll 2, and this one here on scroll 3. I'll paste. I'm going a little bit quickly over this, so if you have any questions, let me know. And then here for the delay, I'll say a delay of, we'll say 300. Then I'll paste again. And then here I'll say on scroll 3. And for the delay, we'll say 600. Okay, so it'll have a staggered effect as those elements come in. So I'll scroll down, and perfect. Looks good. I'll scroll down, and as you can see, we have those elements animating in. Yeah, let me close some of these tabs here. Got a lot of tabs open. So preview again, scroll down, and we have those elements there. Looks nice. Okay, for text, it's a little bit more simple. You don't have to create the rectangles. Let me see if this works here. Yeah, for the text, I'll just assign on scroll 1. And it's not going to do anything because it's not scrolling. But for these, for instance, I'll just assign on scroll 1 to these, and these should fade in as well. So I'll scroll down. Yep, and they do. Perfect. This one, let me make the browser smaller. So there it comes in. Perfect. So I could assign on scroll 1 to just a bunch of elements and watch them animate in. It's just for a group of elements. You want to create a rectangle behind it so that all the elements animate in together. So you can just create a transparent rectangle behind it, assign the graphic style name that's in the widget, and then change the widget options and the delay, the duration to get the desired animation. Okay, and I'll preview one more time. And I think we're close to the end of the video tutorial. We have that nice animation, which is similar to, yeah, let me go to graphicburger.com, type in guide, and click here, and then we'll go to the live demo. So I'll scroll down. It's fairly similar. Here, I'll go to the website. Yeah, we have that nice animation. Looks good. Okay, you can see superb features comes in, and perfect. All right, so I think we're ending the video tutorial. So we've added the animations. For those effects, I would recommend either the simple and sweet on-scroll animations or the animator widget. Okay, so let's go back to the slideshow, and the last step is repeat the process for other breakpoints. So let's go back into Adobe Muse, and we have the 960 breakpoint here. And as we can see, all the elements are there, but they're not in the correct place. So what we can do is I'll go to my layers panel, and I'll just hide everything. So here what I'll do is I'll make sure I'm on layer 2. Then I'll go to the Finder and select the 960 breakpoint, click, hold, and drag, and place into Adobe Muse. So there's the image, and I want to drag it to the size of the website. Okay, there it is. And then I'll bring in the layer 1, and so now we have the image, and we have you know, we can hide some of the rectangles and just see where things need to be placed. So I can move things around, and this will take a bit of maneuvering. And then the font here, you want to make sure that format text on current breakpoint is selected and not across breakpoints, because here I'm going to change the text. So I'm going to go into the website here, and I'm going to use the what font, and let me resize the browser here to this breakpoint. And here we can see the text changes to 40 pixels here. So I'll go into here, and I'll change it to 40, and we'll bring this in like that, space, and bring this up just like that, place it right over, and it looks good. And this text is fairly large, this text box right in there. All right, so if we go to the 1200 breakpoint, the font stays the same, but here we've made the text smaller. So it's just kind of playing with the different layout and moving the elements in different places. And I won't go over this too much because it's just, this is more of a design thing here. Okay, and I want to lock this image here so it doesn't move. All right, place that right in there. Then this one, make it not visible. And yeah, so there's just quite a few elements in different places. Here I would move this. The text actually looks bigger for this one. Yeah, blind text, yeah, in there. So I can go into here, and it's 18. Here it's 18 as well. Yeah, the text is just placed differently. So yeah, Constantine, yeah. So I'll stretch out the text box. Oh, there we go, easy. So we have that, and then these images. I would actually go to this breakpoint, and I'd probably group everything. Oh, it is grouped. Oh, that one wasn't grouped. So I'll right click and group, and right click and group, and this will just make it easier to change them on the different layouts. Click and, yep, right click and group, and right click and not lock, right click and group. Okay, go to the 960, and now I can just try to move these around, yeah, and yeah, so there we go. So yeah, so it's just moving things around and getting the layout to match the image as well, just like we did on the first breakpoint. So it is a bit of work, I mean, but you know, it'll make for a really nice website once it's finished. It'll work on all breakpoints, and you can have animation on all the breakpoints there. So just kind of working with it a little bit. Yeah, you could use the zoom out tool and kind of build it that way. So I'm not going to spend too much time over this section, because this section is really just moving elements around and getting the layout correctly set up on the different breakpoints. So just moving things around, and because it's fixed width, you don't have to worry about elements getting smaller or larger. What will happen here, I'm on the 1200 breakpoint, and yeah, so there is the 1200 goes to 960. We can see that the text changes and some of these elements are in the right position, but I didn't spend too much time with it there, as you can see. But there's the website, looks good. There's the 1200 breakpoint, and let me make the image, hide the image here. Yes, we have the 960 and we have the 1200, so I'll hide both of those. But yeah, I won't go over too much of the, yeah, so here, I'm just gonna hide this image on the, let me hide layer 1, and we're gonna hide this image on this breakpoint. Then I'll bring in the 600 breakpoint image right in there. Looks good. Just make it the same width as the website. And right there. Looks good. And then we'll go to the 480 breakpoint, and I'll hide the 600 image on the 480 breakpoint, and I'll bring in the 480 breakpoint. All right. Just make it the size of the breakpoint. And that's it. So there we have that website. We have this one, and I'll hide the 480 on this one. This one, I'll hide these two. And then the 1200, we'll just hide it because we've already set it up. We'll just hide all of it there. And I'll bring in layer 1 back in there. Okay, so here we are on the 1200 breakpoint, and I'll preview one more time. Okay, there we have it. We have guide, create awesome things for better web. We have the elements here, they come and fade in, looks great. All right, and then we have this image here. Perfect. And everything kind of goes out of whack on the different breakpoints, but that's just a matter of moving things around on those breakpoints. Here we have the MacBook, and there it is. You can make the browser really large and it'll stay there. And we removed the horizontal scroll bar here with the horizontal scroll disabler. Here we have subscribe to our newsletter, and oh, the image is still in the background there. So let me remove it there, and let's preview again. All right, there it is. Looks good. So that is creating a Bootstrap template in Adobe Muse. We went over all the points in the PowerPoint. I'll leave a link to the graphicburger.com website here, to the guide free HTML template, so you can practice and start working from Bootstrap to Adobe Muse. And I'll leave a link to the Fireshot Chrome extension and to the What Font Chrome extension here in the description area below. So this is a great way to practice or to get started with kind of building your own website in Adobe Muse. There were some more advanced topics covered in this tutorial, but if you are a beginner to Adobe Muse, I'd recommend watching a few of the earlier videos on my YouTube channel, and Adobe has some great videos as well to help you get started with the basics. So that's it for this video tutorial. Let me just go back to the slideshow here. So the steps: we found a template on graphicburger.com. We took a screenshot of every breakpoint where the website changed. We created the breakpoints in Adobe Muse. I decided to use fixed width because I found it would be easier to just have the website layout change on those different breakpoints rather than everything becoming responsive and changing shape and things like that. And I did make the sections stretch the browser width, so the content stays in the middle of the website and the sections are 100% width, so you don't have any empty space if the browser window gets too large. What would happen is the sections would stretch to the browser width, would cover the entire browser, and then you'd have the content nicely centered within the browser. Okay, we created the guides for reference with the image. We placed the guides to use them as a reference, and then we added the elements and assets from the Graphic Burger website or the guide website. We used the assets that were in the images folder. If you are creating your own website, you'd want to use your own elements and your own assets and your own content in there, because we use the text and everything from it. But we did use what font to kind of sample the text as well. Yeah, the text size, the text type, or the font family, and the color. So we did that, and then we added the effects with the simple and sweet on-scroll animations widget found at museforYouShop.com. And then we would repeat the process for the other breakpoints. I didn't go over that as much because it would have taken quite a while, but it's basically the same process for the other breakpoints. Because the elements are already in the website, you can just move them around and get the layout correct for the other breakpoints. So that's it. That is, let me go to the first slide here. That is creating a Bootstrap template in Adobe Muse. Hopefully this was informative. I know I covered a lot of material. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. But I think it's a great way to start building a website in Adobe Muse. You can find any template and take a screenshot and just put the guides in and create a really nice layout for your own website. The simple and sweet on-scroll animations can be found at museforYouShop.com. And here I'll click on the pop-up, and here you can click subscribe to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. Or if you'd like to check out with PayPal, you can click here and check out with PayPal, or subscribe with PayPal, excuse me. And then here we have the simple and sweet on-scroll animations, and here you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again you can get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year by clicking here. And here's the simple and sweet on-scroll animations. You can check out all the different animations you can do with it. Okay, so there we have it. You can do quite a few different animations with it. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but if you wanted to look there, you could check out the animations there as well. So you wouldn't just have to use a fade up for the website if you wanted to use a different animation. So that's it for this video tutorial. Let me go back to the slideshow just to end on that slide. Yeah, there we go. The Bootstrap to Adobe Muse video tutorial. I was really excited to do this video tutorial. So again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the show more section below are links to other resources and links to museforYouShop.com. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.